the alignment is so important, right? When you can actually find, and this is something that I would encourage people to do. We talk about it a lot in astrology, I guess, but you're birthing, you're dying, you're letting go of things and people, right? And when you find people that you have alignment, and that was that experience that you hosted in Toronto, right? Was like people that are like-minded and really spending and soaking up time with people like that, it really fills up your cup, right? So I encourage everybody over the holidays to try to get some of that in. And family isn't always that. It could be somebody else, right? And it could be your friends, or it could even be new friends where you may have some. And I experienced that when we were in Toronto, right? I met some new people that were in my circle, and it was like, yeah, that's fun,
Welcome to the Leadership Launchpad Podcast, the Legacy Edition, where conscious leaders unite to unlock their highest potential so collectively we can change the way the game is being played.
Welcome to the Leadership Launchpad Podcast, changing the way this game is being played. And oh yeah, you see the ugly Christmas sweater, so you know what time of year it is. It is almost Christmas. We are right on the doorstep of Christmas Eve tomorrow. Tracey and I just wanted to come in here to wish you all a very Merry Christmas before we close up shop for the holidays. Tracey, can you believe it's freaking Christmas tomorrow?
No, I can't.
What kind of a time?
I don't know what happened. This quarter just kind of blew by, right? And we're already going into 2026 in the next week or so.
I know. It is so
And it's supposed to be a very fast year, 2026, so they say, right? So that's going to be, put your seatbelts on, people. It's going to be fun.
Buckle up, Buttercup. That's what we've all been saying and hearing from the many experts that have come through our podcast studio here this year in 2025. And so we're going to get back in this podcast studio one more time ourselves next week, where we're going to unpack everything that we are doing in our own lane at the helm in our self-leadership to prepare for this acceleration of change that everyone's predicting we're about to step into. But yeah, for this time, we just wanted to talk a little bit about what Christmas looks like for us and some of the counsel that we're giving to our people as leaders right now around the holidays. So how do you tee your people up this time of year when they're about to take a few days off and celebrate the holidays?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important to get some recovery in. I think everybody, works really hard all year, and yeah, we all have vacations. Some people don't take vacation, which is, really, really important to unplug for a bit. I think all of us have been, cycling along quite consistently, and I think all of us need to get some time away from work and screens and dip ourselves into the nature and go for some long walks and meditate and yoga and all that kind of good stuff, right? And spend some time with some families, get some good laughs in with some friends, and visit and socialize. I think that's really, really important. So I'm encouraging everybody to unplug and take some time off. And I'm gonna stay on because I'm going away later in January, but I will be going. It's just I need to wait a little longer. So I'm going to be the catch-all and help my peeps get some recovery while they do that. And then we'll switch around and then I'll take off. What about you?
Man in that battle station, hey?
Yeah.
And I think it's just that the lesson is the same, right? Is that it's so important. Some would say more important than it's ever been for us to unplug in and around this holiday season before we hit the ice in 2026, because of everything that we are predicting is headed our way in terms of the increased demands and increase in pressure and all this in terms of the need to adapt and think outside the box. All of that requires resources. So it's not just this trite thing that we're saying to our people as leaders, right? Like, this is something that you and I absolutely empower, because we know that that is the best preparatory strategy for what we got coming our way, right? Is like us being able to take that time to unplug and practice all that self-care is how we actually meet our needs. And that social time, even in terms of the social connection, that oxytocin is also something that we actually need from a brain chemistry standpoint, right? So Yeah, I think I'm doing the exact same thing. We close up shop and close our doors right about now. And my girls are international, so I send them home to enjoy time with their families because I know that that is the most strategic thing I can do for my people and for our mission in
Hmm.
2026, right?
Hmm.
But I think it's so important right now because this is probably the hardest time for us to give ourselves permission to unplug is with all the predictions of what's coming our way, right? And what that can do to our amygdalas is what we've been exploring as a theme on this show. So, yeah, this is very much something that we all need to get super duper conscious about so that we actually can give ourselves that permission at the helm as leaders, which obviously is a big aspect of how we make that safe for our people to give themselves permission to disengage too.
Right, right.
Yeah. So last thing I just want to check in on before we let our folks go early this time, we're doing a short riff because we really want our people to get out and start to
Yeah.
unplug and resource up, right? But I think the thing I want to ask you, Missy, ever since joining me back in June, in terms of this
Mhm.
journey that you and I have been on, really diving deeply into this whole concept of conscious leadership. What sticks
Mhm.
out to you in terms of that highlight reel from
Mhm.
2025, in terms of what this experience has been like for you to join me on the mic and co-create for
Mhm.
our people?
Hmm. Well, it's funny you say that, but like I remember when I used to come on your podcast just as a guest,
Hmm.
I was so nervous and so like prepared and like wondering what questions I was gonna have and try to say everything perfectly. And now I actually don't even think about it that much, you know. I think it's
Hmm.
more natural and I'm speaking more from my heart, which is really important as opposed to from my head and making all those perfect answers. So for me, that's one of the things that I feel that I've, kind of grown into, which is a nice kind of development for me this year. I would say that my self-leadership has for sure stepped into the real power, I would say, probably in the last few months, where there's not much that's going to tear me down. And I think a lot of it has to do with filling my cup, doing this show, doing things that I like to do. Um, but also, being in an exciting role and thriving and, learning. And those are all the things that like really keep me stimulated and keep me happy. So I've been really fortunate this year to be able to dance in that space and really kind of keep learning and helping others and doing this show. So for me, I could see that playing a huge role in terms of my happiness, but then also like in my empowerment of feeling at the helm, right? So
Hmm.
and that's a
Hmm.
lot. Even though it's only
Hmm.
two or three things, it's a lot in terms of feelings and then the way
Hmm.
that I'm showing up and the way that I'm able to like manage things coming at me in every
Hmm.
which way.
Hmm.
What about
What a divine intervention, right? The fact that I just tapped you on the shoulder when I did because I was answering that call to co-create, right? Like I
yeah.
think it was back in June where I was just yeah, really giving myself a lot of permission in my business to just play and to explore, especially with some of the downloads I was getting in regards to this whole conscious leadership thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing when you can just show up and let it rip. This is what I think I gained from all those years in hockey where I just stepped on the ice and I had to just read and react and trust myself, right? In that level of uncertainty and unpredictability. But this show kind of gives us that same opportunity, right? Where we get to just show up, not knowing what we're going to say, and just trusting that creative process, right? In terms of our exchange of resources, our exchanges of resources with our guests, like all of that, I think for sure is at the top of my highlight reel in terms of me authorizing that decision to just follow my inspiration in that way. Yeah, and then how that all kind of coming down this pipeline in 2025 really helped me birth this new way of describing our mission, right? To change the way the game's being played through conscious leadership. I think you and I just getting to play and explore that on this podcast helped me to edify and qualify and validate that this really was what needed to be born, right, for me in 2025 through that co-creative portal of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we
I
just
think,
came off of that exciting event that you were at here in the
yeah,
city where we brought a whole bunch of our conscious community together of clients and conscious leaders. And yeah, I think that that experience right there showed me that this is definitely the right track. And this is me answering the call at the best possible time in my business because now I get to lead other leaders and show them the possibilities that open up in this portal.
absolutely.
A-
Absolutely. It's been
Any
actually, it's just that the alignment is so important, right? When you
Mhm.
can actually find, and that's something that I would encourage people to do. And we talk about it like we talk about it a lot in astrology, I guess, but you're birthing, you're dying, you're letting go of things and people, right? And when you find
Mhm.
people that you have alignment, and that was that experience that you hosted in Toronto, right? Was like
Mhm.
people that are like-minded and really spending and soaking up time with people like that, it really fills
Mhm.
up your cup, right? So I encourage
Mhm.
everybody over the holidays to try to get some of that in.
Mhm.
And family isn't always that. It could be
Mhm.
somebody else, right? And it could be
Mhm.
your friends, or it could even be new friends where you
Mhm.
may have some, and then I experienced that when we were in Toronto, right? I met some new
Mhm.
people that were in my circle, and it was like, yeah, this is fun. So
Yeah, it's the exchange of resources that we're suggesting is what's going to be required out of leadership. Like us, our ability to co-create with our people, to co-create this next evolution and this next era of work and leadership. Like this is our opportunity to all come together with like minds. Like as an example is us doing the
yeah,
show, right? And everybody who comes and tunes into the show each week, it's that resonance, it's that valuable reciprocal exchange of resources that is going to help us all get out into our worlds and co-create this new world that we all want to see realized in this lifetime. And so I'm so proud of every single one of our conscious leaders out there listening to
mhm,
this podcast right now, but also just following us along on this journey. And yeah, we know like that's why we made co-creation the very theme of our show this year, is because we believe so much in this being what the world needs most out of its leaders, right? Is coming into community and coming into connection for the purposes of that co-creative exchange.
absolutely.
So, any final things you'd like to leave with our audience before Christmas?
Well, I think I wish everybody a happy holiday and just get some rest and some recovery. And, we will be here waiting for you when we get back in January. And then we'll have some exciting stuff to talk about that you and I are going to be trying and doing. And we can share a little bit of that when we're back. But for now, I wish everybody some time off and get some time with the family and friends and some rest. And then we'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
Yay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for all your valuable feedback. Your resource exchange with us is absolutely a tremendously important aspect of this formula in terms of how we've decided to stick the landing on this conscious leadership theme. This is the mission that we are absolutely thrilled and excited to innovate in and around and to continue to bring in top experts into the show to explore their depth and breadth of expertise on. That's the final place that will land is in that attitude of gratitude. Please double down on that sweet recovery, get all the resources you can so that we can all show up next week and really start to look up on this horizon and start to really gain inspiration in terms of what this next year is going to hold in terms of all the possibilities that we see through this portal of our consciousness training. So that's it. That's all. Thank you for tuning in. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And we'll see you all next week. One more time.